Hello and welcome to our Thoreau class. I'm Dr. Bernstein, your professor, and I'm really excited about our class this semester. As I'm sure you know, our class is one of the major authors classes offered here at Lemoyne. And according to the catalog, these classes provide students with an intensive study of the work of a major author, as well as the cultural and historical context from which the work emerges. Students are expected to develop a critical vocabulary for analyzing these texts and to demonstrate their mastery of the material through class discussions, presentations, and critical writing. So major authors classes here at Lemoyne are really about knowing an author by engaging in an intensive study of him or her and leaving the course with some sort of mastery. That sounds so simple and straightforward, but really, what does it mean to know an author? Do you just need to read all of his or her works or all of his or her most important works? How do you read these works? Do you read them in one way when you're in a class like this and in another way when you're in a survey course? Do you study all authors, or at least all major authors, in the same way? Or does your study of an author depend on the author himself? How do you study the historical and cultural context from which a work emerges? Are you just going to be receiving that knowledge from your professor, or are you going to be engaging in the study of primary texts that may have influenced the author? How important is it to study the literary and other influences on this author? What about the influence that this author has exerted over other writers and thinkers? What makes someone a major author? Is Thoreau a major author? Why? Why not? So these are just some of the questions that I was contemplating as I was redesigning the course for this semester. Now, normally you'd expect your professor to be giving you the answers to these questions. You'd expect to see them in the syllabus or to hear about them during the first few days of the semester. But I think that would really deprive you of the important experience of contemplating these questions for yourself. What does it mean to know an author? How are we going to know Thoreau? One thing that you might be noticing as your education progresses and as you feel more confident in your ability to make sense of the world around you and of the text that you're studying is that really there's rarely, at least in terms of literature, one right answer. There's no one absolutely correct interpretation of Shakespeare's Hamlet. There's no one absolutely definitive interpretation of Herman Melville's Moby Dick. Scholars keep returning to these texts over and over and over again, each time seeing new things, deepening their appreciation, looking at the text from different perspectives, raising new questions, looking at the text through the lens of other scholars. So there really is no one right way of getting to know an author, or there's no one right interpretation of a literary work. And it's true, sometimes you will encounter a teacher who will sort of believe that his or her interpretation is it, but the fact of the matter is that's not true. Now, I definitely have my own perspective on Thoreau. I specialize in early American literature, philosophy, and religion, and I really study works ranging from 1620s up through the 19th century. And more specifically, I study a particular strain of thinking and being, and that's called American antinomianism. And I'll tell you more about this as the semester progresses. I'll share, of course, my perspective, my understanding, my mastery with you. So I'm not going to go into details about it right now. But ultimately, this course, the way I conceive of it, is designed to support you in developing your own way of understanding what it means to know an author, in this case, what it means to know Thoreau. And so I'm going to be leaving you with more questions than answers, at least for now, because I really do want you to take the time to contemplate these questions for yourself. You're not going to come up with an answer right away, all at once. This is a process. You're going to be developing refining, exploring, rethinking it over the course of the semester. This approach that we're taking is not random. It's directly related to Thoreau's values, as well as the values of transcendentalism and romanticism, two of the movements with which Thoreau is often identified. I want to share with you a quote from James Marsh, who edited Samuel Taylor Coleridge's Aids to Reflection, a book that was very, very popular amongst American writers like Thoreau and Emerson. Marsh explains that Aids to Reflection was not meant to teach a system of doctrines built upon established premises, so much as to turn the mind continually back upon the premises themselves and to stimulate fresh thinking. As Ralph Waldo Emerson put it in his book Nature, which was published in 1836 and which had a great influence on Thoreau, as Emerson points out in here, he says, "The goal of wise writers is not to create digested systems, but to announce undiscovered regions of thought, and so communicating through hope new activity to the torpid spirit." Our study of Thoreau is going to be aligned, at least for the most part, with these values that privilege the importance of engaging and stimulating our minds rather than passively receiving knowledge. A couple of days ago, I was listening to an NPR piece on Wallace Shawn. You might know him from The Princess Bride or from the Toy Story movies. He's the voice of Rex, the green dinosaur. But what you might not know about him is that he's also written what NPR describes as a handful of plays and other works that are intellectually demanding. One of these is the film My Dinner with Andre, a 2-hour scripted conversation with a brilliant, eccentric theater director, Andre Gregory. That's a quote from the NPR host. In the NPR piece, Andre Gregory says, "There's such a thing as a passive culture and an active culture. A passive culture is a culture that tells you what to think, how to feel. An active culture is one that tries to wake up the audience to think, to feel, and to confront themselves." And probably the main theme of My Dinner with Andre is wake up. As you start to read and get to know Thoreau, this issue of waking up and confronting yourself is really, really important to him. It's central to his work. So just keep these issues in mind as you're reading him.